Hey everybody, Mike McWilliams upstairs to the right music. Just a quick reminder, we are in the middle of a subscription drive here on this channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and we're just a dozen subscribers, 24 subscribers away. If you haven't subscribed with us yet and you like the contents of this channel, please hit that subscribe button and help us out to get to that goal. It's much appreciated. So on today's report. Andy Mooney, the CEO of Fender, recently spoke to CNBC News about the current status of what's going on in the overall guitar market. So let's take a look at some of the highlights of what he had to say, and then we will discuss those individual points and get a little bit more detail about this extremely alarming report coming out of the CEO of Fender. Let's take a listen.
Joining me now is Fender CEO Andy Mooney. Andy, it's great to have you here. Is it going to get worse first, or could it start to get better?
Well, I think eventually it's going to get better. I think the big question is when. We are not optimistic at this point it's going to get significantly better for at least 2, maybe 3 quarters.
How much are prices up?
Well, with the latest price increase that just went into effect January 1, we've increased prices about 10% over the last 12 months.
And is that doing enough to slow demand?
Not at this point. It's truly remarkable, the demand that's out there. Just people want to use their time at home wisely and invest in activities that they really feel good about.
How do you know whether you have new people coming in? You know, if I wanted to learn guitar, I'm not sure I would buy a Fender first thing.
Well, we actually just completed a very comprehensive research project and found that in the US alone, 16 million new entrants, 7% of the entire population picked up guitar, in many cases for the first time last year. So there's massive amounts of new people coming in and trying to find the best guitar for them to learn the instrument.
Yeah, no, it was funny when I saw the story. I just got a little plastic guitar for my kids. Thought, you know, it'd be a good little entree into the music world, but I didn't realize the actual ones are becoming harder to get. I imagine it's not just your company struggling.
No, for sure. The entire industry is facing the same challenges. I like to think we probably managed the issues a little better than some of our competitors, but everybody's struggling with the same issues.
And we mentioned that it could include the chip shortage. Explain, you know, sort of if you ranked the issues: chip shortage, transportation problems, raw materials, labor shortage. How are those interacting? Which are the worst?
Well, I think probably the top 2 on the electronic side, definitely chip shortages. It's affected amplifier sales, in particular in our case, and also for the PreSonus, the company that we recently acquired last month, where audio recording is home recording, another big booming category right now. But I'd say after that, the transportation issues, availability for containers, the backup at the Port of Long Beach, that's a really material issue as well.
Okay, so there we had it straight from the CEO of Fender's mouth regarding a couple of things that I found to be extremely interesting. His first quote was he was not optimistic that the tight guitar supply will ease for at least 2 to 3 quarters. Now, we've discussed this before in news reports that we've done on this channel about the supply chain and how the individual parts that are needed in order to make most of the things that we use for guitars, basses, and amplifiers, recording equipment, as he pointed out in this report, are in short supply. Not only that, but he also said that prices are up 10% over the last 11 months, but this has not slowed demand. So we're seeing inflation going on here where the supply obviously cannot match the demand that's going on. Again, tying into these problems with the supply chain and individual parts in general. This is why I was pointing out with the Gibson announcement that they were coming out with Gibson branded amps in the last news store report that we did here on this channel. I really was not, let's just say I was extremely pessimistic that that goal of actually coming out with those amps anytime soon, certainly not in the next 2 or 3 quarters, would be possible. We see that Fender CEO Andy Mooney is saying that even with Fender amps, they are having a hard time achieving the goals that are being met by the demand on them due to parts. Now, he said he was much better prepared for the situation than some of his competitors, but he's still feeling the pinch. So you can again imagine the effect that this is having overall. 7% of the American population picked up a guitar since the beginning of the coup. Now, I find this really interesting. That means that 7 out of 100 people in the United States purchased a guitar between 2020 and now. I find that to be an astounding amount of people, and I think that it's going to point towards a future 5-10 years down the line, maybe even sooner, where there is more of a focus in the music business towards guitar-orientated music as opposed to rap and some of the synth pop that you're hearing these days. I think we're going to hear a far, far more diverse amount of guitar music, and that's only good for us as a result of this, because this is just a sample that's 7% of the United States. You can imagine what it's like in Europe and Asia, and so if you just kind of think about it, that's leading down a positive path. The guitar sales were actually declining there for a minute, and since then he has stated that sales have doubled since 2020. Total sales are up 30% in 2021. And here is the last little thing that I found interesting, is that sub $500 guitar sales is up 40%. Now, we've also talked about, the values of guitars. Do I need to get that custom shop model, or can I just get by with a sub $500 Squire? And, in the case of Fender. And I think that, even though a lot of these people are beginners, and so that can account for a lot of these sub $500 sales, I think that the focus, with such a huge glut of people interested in these guitars, these sub $500 guitars, I think maybe the focus is going to fall off with a lot of the big manufacturers off some of their more pricier items and focusing more on this group. Again, with Epiphone and guitars like this one right here, the 59, the Lazarus, and now the current 1961 SG Standard being in the 850 range, I still really wonder if Epiphone moving out of that sub $500 range guitar, maybe $6 at the most, really is going to have a negative effect. I think the timing might be off on that, as I've pointed out before. Some really interesting points that were brought up today. I found them quite fascinating, and my cat found them fascinating as well. Sorry about the noise. But I really wanted to do this today the minute I saw this, because the implications of what he was saying, bottom line, folks, expect for the prices of guitars to go up astronomically, even more than we saw in that 2008-2009 period. Especially among vintage guitars. I think this time it's going to be every guitar all the way around, even these sub $500 guitars. If you can get one, the availability is going to be tight for the next year. So 2022 is going to be a year of tight supply in the guitar market, high demand. So if you're thinking about pulling the trigger on something, again, you're not exactly too late, but you're getting there to the finish line on this, so you really need to do that. Because I can just foresee in the possible future that $1,000 guitar is going to become an $1,100 or $1,200 guitar. The $2,000 guitar is going to become a $2,300, $2,400 guitar. Your $500 guitar is going to become, you get it. This guitar right here, as I've said, its price on Reverb right now is higher than I paid for it just 1 year ago exactly. All right, that's it for today's news story. I hope you appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done it so far. Like it if you liked it. You can also hit the dislike if you disliked it. It wasn't the most positive news I was giving today, but I really enjoyed bringing it to you, and I hope to see you again next time. You guys take care. Bye-bye.